Divinity Original Sin 2 Definitive Edition is a role-playing video game developed and published by Lucian Studios. The sequel to 2014's Divinity Original Sin, it was released for Windows in August 2018. The game was a critical and commercial success, with it selling over 1 million copies in 2 months and being cited as one of the best role-playing games of all time, with praise given to its combat complexity and interactivity. And I've been itching to make a game review of this. So yeah, let's go, and I hope you enjoy this video. Roll the intro. The game is set on the fantasy world of Rivellon, centuries after the first game sequel, Divinity Original Sin. Living beings on Rivellon have a form of energy known as Source, and individuals called Sorcerers can manipulate Source to cast spells or enhance their combat abilities. The 7 gods of Rivellon had given up a portion of their collective Source power and infused it into a person, Lucian, known as the Divine, who used his powers to hold back the void. However, Lucian died before the start of the game, which weakened the veil between the void and Rivellon, and monstrous creatures of the void, guided by the God King, their dark deity, have begun to invade Rivellon. These void woken are drawn to the use of Source, and so an organization called the Divine Order is persecuting sorcerers. And you, the player, are a sorcerer, and your task is to go on an adventure and become the next divine. This game offers different endings, and you can freely choose what ending you like to transpire. Whether you go solo or look for companions willing to join you in your conquest is up to you. It is a semi-open world kind of game where you can roam freely, discover secret dungeons, rooms, buttons, ladders, etc. This game will reward you if you are a person who likes to check every nook and cranny before you move on to the next area. Just like in the first game sequel, you can use your environment to have an advantage in fights, though enemies would have the same idea. It is a must to have mobility skills such as teleportation, nether swap, tactical retreat, and much more. If the fight becomes too hard to overcome, you can always flee and escape. Just make sure you have enough distance from your enemies and come back whenever you're strong enough to best them. You can mix elements to create more sinister battlefield for your enemies. Mixing water surfaces with electricity will give you electrified water surfaces. Same with blood surfaces. Oil surfaces with fire, explosion. Water with fire will produce steam cloud. Clouds can be electrified, poisoned, freeze, and much more. This game offers 10 spell schools: Aerotheurge, Geomancer, Huntsman, Hydrosophist, Necromancer, Polymorph, Pyrokinetic, Scoundrel, Summoning, and Warfare. You can create hybrid skills through skill crafting. Combine 2 books, each from different spell schools, will give you a new skill. Example, combining Rain skill book to any Necromancer tier 1 book will give you Blood Rain. 3 spell schools comprise mostly of weapon skills, and derive their damage and bonus attribute from their associated weapons. Huntsman and Scoundrel scale with finesse, as they use ranged weapons and daggers respectively. Warfare, which calls for all melee weapons and shields, can scale with finesse through daggers and spears, intelligence through staves, or strength. All other skill trees scale with the character's level and intelligence, or strength in Polymorph's case. Restoration and summon skills grow with skill abilities. Divinity Original Sin 2 categorizes damage and status effects as either physical or magical. Skills eschew traditional chance-based activation and deal guaranteed effects if the target's physical or magical armor is diminished to 0. All negative effects are resisted and fail to trigger if at least 1 point of armor persists. Elemental damage such as fire, water, air, earth, and poison exclusively deal damage against magic armor. Piercing damage, however, ignores both types of armor, wounding vitality directly. You can track your main missions, side quests, and companion quests through your quest journal. If you are a completionist kind of gamer like I am, I recommend to finish all of the quests before moving on to the next island. Moving on to the next one will close all of your current quests permanently. You can play this game however you please. Choose whatever dialogues you fancy, but be warned, certain choices will affect your game dramatically. This could lead you to peaceful negotiations to bloody, messy resolutions. In my first playthrough, I skipped everything and it took me almost 100 hours to finish. On my second playthrough, it took me around 125 hours since I didn't skip anything and watched all cinematics. It's fantastically well written, from the main story to even small side quests. There are even returning characters from the previous game sequel, so fans of Divinity Original Sin would definitely get hyped. The story is linear, but it won't tell you how you should play the game. It offers freedom to all players to choose which sides you think are righteous and principled. This game has many possible endings. Each are attainable from certain choices, others are given based on your actions. Interesting characters. Each have their own unique backstories. They are easy to remember since the companions that you will choose to bring to your company will have big impacts later on. Amazing soundtracks. Each specific area has their own designated soundtrack, and around 74,000 lines of dialogue with every single written line in the story is voice acted. Divinity Original Sin 2 has one of the most beautiful looking isometric RPG, and this game lets you move your camera freely and smoothly. They also added that tactical camera option to make the aiming of skills and attacks precisely. Though sometimes I still find myself accidentally move in my turns, thus spending my precious action points instead of spending it to attack, or buffing an enemy instead of buffing myself or my ally. This is just my opinion though, but I really don't like how elongated Sibyl's neck and all elves in the game. Unlike in the first Divinity Original Sin game, they seem normal. Sibyl is one of my favorite character. I wish they didn't change this elf's feature from the first sequel. It doesn't seem proportionate. Looks like they're about to break. But these inconveniences doesn't set back the game from it being one of the most enjoyable and entertaining game of all time. I totally fell in love with this game. Entertaining characters with fantastically written backstories where companions felt like real, since they have their own unique personalities. Looting system is great. If you don't know me, I'm really into games with great loots. We can talk for hours about the stuff that you can do in this game. It offers a tremendous amount of liberty to make choices to all players. So yeah, I'll recommend this game to my friends for sure. I felt so satisfied when I finished the game and immediately played it for the second time. Divinity Original Sin 2 Definitive Edition is 10 out of 10, no doubt about that. It's not a perfect game. Perfect game doesn't exist, but Larian Studios definitely know what they're doing. This exceptional game set apart itself among the rest. Truly a masterpiece. If you agree with me, click like, subscribe, and share this video to your friends. If not, comment down below and share your opinions. I'd love to read them. Thank you for watching and see you in the next video. Peace.